When installing drains and breathers into a NEMA 7 enclosure, it is crucial to understand that specific torque requirements exist to maintain the integrity of the explosion-proof rating. A NEMA 7 enclosure is designed to contain an internal explosion without causing a hazard to the surrounding environment. The proper installation of drains and breathers is critical to this function. Drains are used to remove condensation that may accumulate inside the enclosure, while breathers allow for pressure equalization due to temperature changes. Both devices must be installed correctly to prevent any compromise of the enclosure's protective capabilities. Torque is a rotational force that, when applied to a fastener such as a bolt or screw, creates tension and clamping force. In the context of NEMA 7 enclosures, the torque applied to drains and breathers is important for two primary reasons. Firstly, to ensure a tight seal that prevents the escape of flames or hot gases in the event of an internal explosion, and secondly, to maintain the mechanical integrity of the connection, preventing the drain or breather from loosening due to vibration or thermal cycling. The specific torque value required for installation depends on several factors, including the size and material of the drain or breather, the material of the enclosure, and the design of the threaded connection. It is essential to consult the manufacturer's specifications for the exact torque value recommended for the specific components being used. These specifications are usually provided in the product documentation or on the manufacturer's website. Using the correct torque wrench is critical for achieving the desired torque value. A torque wrench is a specialized tool that measures the amount of torque being applied to a fastener. There are several types of torque wrenches available, including click type, beam type, and digital torque wrenches. A click type torque wrench is commonly used and features an adjustable setting that allows the user to preset the desired torque value. When the preset torque is reached, the wrench emits a click sound, indicating that the fastener is properly tightened. Beam type torque wrenches use a pointer that indicates the applied torque on a scale, while digital torque wrenches provide a digital readout of the torque value. When installing drains and breathers, it is important to follow a step-by-step procedure to ensure proper installation. Firstly, inspect the threads of both the drain or breather and the enclosure to ensure that they are clean and free from any damage or debris. Any contamination or damage to the threads can prevent a proper seal from being formed. Secondly, apply a suitable thread sealant or lubricant to the threads of the drain or breather. The specific type of sealant or lubricant recommended should be specified by the manufacturer. Thread sealants help to create a tight seal and prevent leakage, while lubricants reduce friction and ensure smooth tightening. Thirdly, carefully thread the drain or breather into the enclosure by hand, ensuring that it is properly aligned. Avoid cross-threading, which can damage the threads and compromise the seal. Fourthly, using the appropriate torque wrench, tighten the drain or breather to the specified torque value. Apply the torque gradually and evenly, avoiding any sudden or jerky movements. Fifthly, after tightening the drain or breather, inspect the connection to ensure that it is secure and that there are no signs of leakage. If any leakage is detected, the connection may need to be retorqued or the threads may need to be resealed. It is important to note that over-torquing can be just as detrimental as under-torquing. Over-torquing can damage the threads, strip the fastener, or even crack the enclosure. Under-torquing, on the other hand, can result in a loose connection that is prone to leakage and vibration. In addition to following the manufacturer's torque specifications, it is also important to consider the environmental conditions in which the NEMA 7 enclosure is installed. For example, if the enclosure is exposed to extreme temperatures, the torque value may need to be adjusted to account for thermal expansion and contraction. Similarly, if the enclosure is subjected to significant vibration, the torque value may need to be increased to prevent loosening. Regularly inspect drains and breathers on NEMA 7 enclosures as part of a routine maintenance program. This inspection should include checking for any signs of corrosion, damage, or leakage. If any problems are detected, the drain or breather should be replaced immediately. Using non-approved or incorrect drains and breathers on a NEMA 7 enclosure can seriously compromise its explosion-proof rating. Only use drains and breathers that are specifically designed and certified for use with NEMA 7 enclosures. These components have been tested and approved to meet the stringent requirements of the NEMA 7 standard. When selecting drains and breathers, consider the specific application and the environmental conditions in which the enclosure will be used. Different types of drains and breathers are available for different applications, such as those designed for use in corrosive environments or those that are resistant to high temperatures. Always refer to the manufacturer's documentation for guidance on selecting the appropriate drain or breather for the specific application. Proper torque is not just a recommendation, it is a critical safety requirement for NEMA 7 enclosures. Ignoring the torque specifications can lead to serious consequences, including explosions, fires, and injuries. It is therefore essential to take the time to understand the torque requirements and to follow the proper installation procedures. Training personnel and the proper installation techniques for drains and breathers on NEMA 7 enclosures is essential. This training should include instruction on the use of torque wrenches, the importance of following manufacturer's specifications, and the potential hazards of improper installation. Ensure that all personnel who are involved in the installation of drains and breathers are properly trained and qualified. Keep detailed records of all drain and breather installations, including the date of installation, the torque value used, and the name of the person who performed the installation. These records can be valuable for tracking maintenance and identifying potential problems. Review the torque requirements for drains and breathers on NEMA 7 enclosures on a regular basis to ensure that they are up to date and accurate. Changes in manufacturer specifications or industry standards may necessitate adjustments to the torque values. Stay informed about the latest developments in NEMA 7 enclosure technology and best practices. Consider that NEMA 7 enclosures are typically used in hazardous locations where flammable gases or vapors may be present. These locations require special precautions to prevent explosions. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides detailed requirements for the installation of electrical equipment in hazardous locations. These requirements include the use of approved enclosures, wiring methods, and components. Familiarize yourself with the requirements of the NEC as they relate to NEMA 7 enclosures. The NEC Article 500 covers the general requirements for hazardous locations. Articles 501 through 503 cover the specific requirements for different classes and divisions of hazardous locations. Always consult the latest edition of the NEC for the most up-to-date information. Many other standards and regulations may also apply to the installation of drains and breathers on NEMA 7 enclosures, depending on the specific location and application. For example, some industries may have their own internal standards or regulations that must be followed. It is essential to be aware of all applicable standards and regulations and to ensure that the installation complies with these requirements. Consider that maintaining the integrity of a NEMA 7 enclosure also involves other factors, such as ensuring that the enclosure is properly sealed and that all access points are secured. Any openings or gaps in the enclosure can compromise its explosion-proof rating. Regularly inspect the enclosure for any signs of damage or deterioration. Replace any damaged or deteriorated components immediately. Regularly inspect the enclosure gaskets and seals to ensure that they are in good condition. Replace any damaged or deteriorated gaskets and seals immediately. Use only approved replacement parts that are specifically designed for use with the NEMA 7 enclosure. Using non-approved replacement parts can compromise the enclosure's explosion-proof rating. Consider consulting with a qualified electrical engineer or inspector to ensure that the installation of drains and breathers on NEMA 7 enclosures complies with all applicable requirements. A qualified professional can provide guidance on selecting the appropriate components, determining the correct torque values, and ensuring that the installation is performed safely and correctly. When in doubt, always err on the side of caution and seek professional assistance. Proper installation and maintenance of drains and breathers on NEMA 7 enclosures is essential for ensuring safety and preventing explosions in hazardous locations. This attention to detail helps to protect people, property, and the environment.